I'm Henry Acosta, and welcome to Health Professional Radio. Did you know that there are around 4 million Australians living with high blood pressure? Along with having high blood pressure, the risk of getting a stroke increases by 4 to 6 times. Joining us today is Bianca Venuti as one of the health ambassadors of Priceline Pharmacy. Priceline Pharmacy has partnered up with the Stroke Foundation to help spread awareness on the dangers of what having high blood pressure means. Bianca joins us today to talk about her experience with her mother, the great and well known entertainer Maria Venuti, about caring for people who have gone through a stroke and what it means to have your blood pressure checked every now and then. Priceline Pharmacy is also launching the Australia's biggest blood pressure check. So you can go to any Priceline Pharmacy branch and get your blood pressure checked for free, and all it takes is just 5 minutes of your time. With all that said, thanks for coming by, Bianca. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
To kick things off, I just wanted to ask, so since your mom had a stroke last year, how has that impacted your life, and what are the things that have happened?
Yeah, sure. So it's been pretty significant change in our lives, it's fair to say. My mum had quite a horrific um, haemorrhagic stroke, so it was a very big bleed, which basically impacts the right side of her body and her communication. So, yeah, I think things that you think day to day as being normal and possible, you know, questions all of that. And yeah, I suppose just to get her through it, she's been in hospital and rehab for the last 6 months and is now home. So we're on to the next challenge. Yeah, sort of living week by week, taking challenge by challenge, but yeah, we're getting through it, which is great.
Well, that sounds like great news, and yeah, congratulations on getting your mom home already from rehab.
Thank you.
Our next question, were there early warning signs that she was about to have a stroke?
For my mum, it was a little bit different because I know that, yeah, we kind of were aware of the four warning signs to look at, but because she'd had a significant shock, it all happened very, very quickly. And whilst we kind of had the ambulance there within half an hour, the damage had already been done. So, yeah, in that sense, she was a little bit different. But generally, I think it really is important to look for the warning signs, and it's things like slurred speech, your face can droop a little bit. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to remember the acronym. Is it FACE?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what the acronym is?
I think it's face, but my memory is not very good with it.
Act fast, don't put this bit in.
Yeah,
We might have to work it out.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but for Mum it was a little bit different in that, yeah, it was quite a sudden shock, which sent her blood pressure through the roof, which meant that she had this huge bleed.
I see. And yeah. What do we have to know, or what do you want our audience to know about having high blood pressure, and how are you supposed to deal with it?
So I think the really big thing to understand is that blood pressure is the biggest risk factor for stroke. And we can monitor our blood pressure, we can stay on top of it. And I think Australia's biggest blood pressure check is such a good opportunity to go into a Priceline pharmacy, get your blood pressure checked. It takes 10 minutes and get an understanding of where it's at. And obviously, if there's anything that needs to be addressed with the GP, the pharmacist will let you know. And I think we did something like 56,000 blood pressure checks last year. So
Wow.
we're looking to beat that this year. So, yeah, just head into a Priceline pharmacy before the 14th of June and get it all checked out.
Wow. And yeah, I hope we do beat that. So, with regards to that, how did you start getting involved with Priceline Pharmacy, and yeah, how did you get partnered up with them?
Yeah, sure. So I'm partnering with the Stroke Foundation and Priceline Pharmacy to bring Australia's biggest blood pressure check to life.
Mhm.
And I suppose, when I was approached, am quite passionate about everyone having their blood pressure checked regularly because I think that, it's something like strokes kill more women than breast cancer and more men than prostate cancer. So, we talk about all of these things, but I think, I just think it is so important when you've got real experiences and you really understand what it can do to share that with others to help prevent other people having to have the same experience.
So, what can you tell us about the misconceptions around people having high blood pressure and maybe about caring for people who have gone through a stroke?
I think probably the extent of what can happen is something like I know a friend of mine's dad had a stroke before mum did, and I thought, oh, it's just, it's fine. It was a minor stroke. Mum's stroke nearly killed her. So I think even in my mind, if mum was ever going to have a stroke, she would have been fine, whereas actually she wasn't fine. So I think there's, the importance of really actively managing your blood pressure, but also, I suppose that sense of not being too busy, oh, it'll never happen to me, all of those things that happen in our day-to-day. When something hits you like this, you realise how important it is. So, I think it's really about having that proactivity to say, look, this could be very, very, very serious, not just something that would, you'd quickly get over.
Yeah. And what do you want our listeners to learn from this interview?
So I think the key thing, the key message is that, don't delay. Go and get your blood pressure checked. I think Australia's biggest blood pressure campaign runs through till the 14th of June. So there was free blood pressure checks in every Priceline Pharmacy. So just be proactive with managing your own health and go and get your blood pressure checked.
Awesome. Well, for our last question, how can people who are interested in maybe learning more about the Australia's biggest blood pressure check and about strokes in general, how can they reach out to the Stroke Foundation and to you?
Yeah, so for more information, I know that if you go to priceline.com.au/mission-health, you can find some more information about there. The Stroke Foundation website, go into a Priceline pharmacy and speak to one of the pharmacists. They're more than happy to help to explain a little bit more about stroke, around blood pressure, and about, and obviously the opportunity for people to do a health check there.
Awesome. Well, that's all our questions for today, and thanks for coming by. And that was Bianca Venuti, one of Priceline Pharmacy's Mission Health Ambassadors. We just finished talking about high blood pressure, strokes, and the ABBC, or Australia's biggest blood pressure check campaign. You can go to any Priceline Pharmacy branch to get your blood pressure checked from today to the 14th of June. It is free of charge and it will only take around 5 to 10 minutes of your time. And if you want to listen to more interviews and find our transcripts and archives, you can go on www.hpr.fm. We're also available on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. I'm Henry Acosta, helping spread the awareness on good health and positivity, and you've been listening to Health Professional Radio.